There is a town in the Texas Hill Country where the entire population fits inside a single school gymnasium, where the main street hasn't changed in 80 years, and where a German dialect that no longer exists in Germany is still spoken by a handful of elderly residents on front porches. There is a village on the Rio Grande where the post office has been operating since 1848, where the same 4 family names appear on every mailbox, and where the nearest traffic light is 40 miles away. There is a community in deep East Texas that was founded by freed enslaved people after the Civil War, incorporated into a city, unincorporated again, and then forgotten by every map except the ones its own residents drew. Texas has 254 counties, over 1,200 incorporated municipalities, and thousands of unincorporated communities that never made it onto the official list. Most people see Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and a stretch of Interstate 10. They call it Texas. But the actual Texas, the one that predates statehood and postdates logic, is hiding in places that do not have a Whataburger or a traffic signal. We found 14 of them. These are not ghost towns. These are not tourist traps. These are living, breathing communities where the history is stranger than anything a screenwriter would invent, and where the present is stranger still. We are counting down from number 14 all the way to number 1. Number 14. Lajitas. In 1980, a goat named Clay Henry was elected mayor of Lajitas. He was re-elected. His son, Clay Henry Jr., succeeded him. His grandson, Clay Henry III, continued the dynasty. The goat family's primary qualification was an ability to drink beer from a bottle, which the locals found sufficiently gubernatorial. Lajitas sits in Brewster County at the edge of Big Bend, roughly 90 miles from the nearest town with a grocery store. It was founded as a trading post and cavalry outpost in the early 1900s. Today it operates as a high-end resort community with a golf course, a private airstrip, and a population of approximately 100 people. The golf course crosses into Mexico. You drive a cart across the border to reach the back 9. There is no customs checkpoint on the fairway. The current Clay Henry resides in a pen next to the general store. He is still drinking beer. He is not currently elected to anything, but the position is considered hereditary. Number 13. Terlingua. Terlingua is not supposed to exist. The town was built around a mercury mining operation that boomed in the early 1900s and collapsed completely by the 1940s. Everyone left. The buildings crumbled. The cemetery filled up with miners who died young from mercury poisoning and heat. Then, starting in the 1960s, people started moving back in. Not many. Fewer than 100 lived there year-round. But they moved into the ruins, patched the roofs with corrugated metal, and created a community inside a ghost town that refused to stay dead. Every year, the Terlingua International Chili Championship draws thousands of people to a flat patch of desert 80 miles from the nearest city. It has been held since 1967. The debate over which chili cook-off is the real one has been running almost sane as long. Terlingua has 2 competing events. Both claim to be the original. Both happen on the same weekend. Neither group is willing to negotiate. That is the Texas spirit in its purest form. Number 12. Shafter. Picture this. You are driving south from Marfa on Texas FM 67. The road drops into a valley. Silver gray mountains rise on both sides. Then you see it. A church dome, white against brown rock. A row of collapsed stone buildings. A handful of occupied homes. The population sign reads 30. Shafter was founded in the 1880s around one of the richest silver mines in Texas history. At its peak, the Shafter mine produced over 30 million ounces of silver. 30 million. The town had a hotel, a company store, a school, and enough infrastructure to sustain several hundred workers and their families. The mine closed in 1942, reopened briefly in the 1990s, and closed again. The church, Our Lady of Polvareda, was built in 1909 and still holds services several times a year. The Pries and Maus. T drives in from Presidio. 30 people live in a town that once produced more silver than most countries mine in a decade. The mine is still there. The silver is gone. Number 11. Indianola. Indianola is not weird because of what it is. It is weird because of what happened to it. Twice. Founded in 1846 as a port city on Matagorda Bay, Indianola grew rapidly into the second largest port in Texas. Goods, immigrants, and camels passed through it. The United States Army imported 34 camels through Indianola in 1856 as an experiment in desert transportation. That program failed for reasons that seem obvious in retrospect. In 1875, a Category 4 hurricane nearly destroyed the city. The residents rebuilt. In 1886, a second hurricane finished the job. The surviving residents packed their belongings and relocated inland. The city did not rebuild. Today, at low tide, you can sometimes see the submerged foundations of buildings that stood 140 years ago beneath the waters of Matagorda Bay. A historical marker and a handful of fishing camps are all that remain above water. The camels lasted longer than the city did. Number 10. Cheapside. The name is real. Cheapside, Texas, sits in Gonzales County with a population that has hovered around 80 for the better part of a century. It was founded in the 1870s and named, according to local tradition, because land and goods there were cheaper than in nearby towns. The name stuck. The town did not grow. What Cheapside does have is one of the most unusual community dance traditions in the Hill Country. The Cheapside Dance Hall, a corrugated metal building with a wooden floor and no air conditioning, has been hosting dances continuously since the 1930s. Temperatures inside on a July night reach well over 100 degrees. Nobody has added air conditioning. The argument is that air conditioning would change the feel of the room, and the feel of the room is the entire int of coming. 80 people live in a town called Cheapside and have refused to install air conditioning in their dance hall for 90 years. That is a defensible position. Number 9. Sublime. Sublime, Texas has approximately 75 residents, 1 volunteer fire department, and a name that carries considerably more weight than the town itself. It sits in Lavaca County, southeast of Hallettsville. The origin of the name is disputed. Some accounts credit an early settler who found the landscape beautiful. Others suggest it was named ironically, which would make it the oldest documented Texas joke. The town has no commercial establishments of any kind. There is no gas station, no restaurant, no store. Residents drive to Hallettsville for supplies. What Sublime does have is a German Catholic community church that has been holding services since 1886. A cemetery with inscriptions in both German and English, and a landscape that, depending on the season and the light, actually looks somewhat sublime. The ironic explanation seems less likely the longer you stand there in the late afternoon. Number 8. Waring. Waring is a community on the Guadalupe River in Kendall County, with a population of approximately 75 people, and a dance hall that has been operating since 1904. The Waring General Store and Dance Hall is one of the last original German Texas dance halls still in continuous operation. It was built by German immigrant Henry Waring, who also gave the town its name, which makes the naming process unusually straightforward by Texas standards. The dance hall has no stage. The musicians set up in the corner. The floor is original wood. The bar has been in the same location for over 100 years. Waring also sits at the edge of what locals call the Texas Hill Country Wine Corridor, which has expanded dramatically since the 1990s. A town of 75 people is now surrounded by vineyards. Dance Hall predates the wine tourism by a century and has thus far declined to rebrand itself as a tasting experience. Number 7. Welfare. Picture this. You are driving Texas Highway 87 between Comfort and Bourne. You see a sign, it says Welfare. Population 70. There is a community building, a grange hall, a church, and approximately nothing else. Welfare, Texas, was named in 1902 by German settlers who used the German word Wohlfahrt, meaning prosperity or well-being, and the anglicized version became welfare. The name has been a source of local humor and mild embarrassment ever since, particularly when applying for federal grants that require a mailing address. The town sits in Kendall County, deep in the hill country, surrounded by ranches and cedar trees. It has not incorporated. It has not expanded. It has not renamed itself. Would you rename a town that has been called Welfare for over 120 years? Some people would. The residents of Welfare apparently would not. Number 6. Uncertain. Uncertain, Texas is a real place with a real post office and a genuinely uncertain origin for its name. Located on Caddo Lake in Harrison County near the Louisiana border, Uncertain has a permanent population of approximately 94 people and a name that has been generating confusion on government forms since the town was incorporated in 1961. The most credible explanation is that early surveyors were uncertain about whether the community fell within Texas or Louisiana jurisdiction. Caddo Lake, which surrounds the town on 3 sides, is the only naturally occurring lake in Texas and one of the largest cypress swamps in North America. Spanish moss hangs from trees that are hundreds of years old. Alligators are common. The lake looks more like Louisiana than Texas because it essentially is Louisiana, geologically and ecologically, sitting a few miles inside the state line. 94 people chose to live in a town called Uncertain inside a cypress swamp. That is a specific personality type. Number 5. Lobo. Lobo, Texas, in Culberson County, has a population of approximately 15 people and a history that swings between extremes with no apparent middle ground. It was founded as a railroad town in 1891, thrived briefly, and began declining when traffic patterns shifted. By the 1950s, most residents had left. By the 1980s, it was essentially abandoned. Then, in 2000, a couple from New York purchased the entire town. The entire town. Every building, every lot, the post office, the former school, the water tower. They moved in and began restoring structures that had been vacant for decades. Lobo attracted artists and remote workers before remote work was a concept that required a name. The population has fluctuated between 10 and 25 for the past 2 decades. A New York couple bought a ghost town in West Texas and moved into it. 15 people now live in what was, for a period, a town of 0. Number 4. Dimebox. Dimebox sits in Lee County between Austin and College Station, with a population around 300 and a name that the Postal Service did not invent to be charming. The original settlement was called Brown's Mill. Residents would leave a dime in a box near the mill to pay for mail delivery, and the practice became so associated with the community that when a post office was formally established, the name followed the custom. A town named itself after its payment method for mail. The United States Postal Service accepted this. The name has been official since 1877. There is also a community nearby called Old Dime Box, which predates the current Dime Box by several decades, and which refused to rename itself when the post office was established. 2 communities named Dime Box exist within a few miles of each other in central Texas. The post office serves both. Neither has expressed interest in resolving the naming situation. Number 3. Cut and Shoot. Cut and Shoot, Texas, is a real municipality in Montgomery County with approximately 1,100 residents, and a name that the Texas state government has officially recognized since 1969. The most widely cited origin story dates to 1912, when a dispute over a community meeting house and a traveling preacher became so heated that a child reportedly said he was going to cut around the corner and shoot through the bushes. The quote passed into local legend. The town eventually incorporated under the name. Cut and Shoot has produced at least one professional boxer, Roy Harris, who challenged Floyd Patterson for the world heavyweight title in 1958. Harris lost. He returned to cut and shoot. He lived there for the rest of his life, which should tell you something about the place. A town named after a child's threat during a church dispute produced a heavyweight title contender. The logic holds if you look at it from the right angle. Number 2. Ding Dong. Ding Dong, Texas, is an unincorporated community in Bell County. Population approximately 22, named after the Bell brothers, Zuelas, and Bert Bell, who opened a store in the 1930s and hired a sign painter to create an advertisement. The sign painter added 2 bells to the design. The community became known as the place with the bell sign. The name followed. Ding Dong does not have a post office, an incorporated government, or a Ding Dong branded anything, despite the obvious commercial opportunity. The sign is what everyone comes to photograph. The sign is a reproduction. The original was replaced decades ago. 22 people live in a community named Ding Dong because a sign painter added bells to a store advertisement in the 1930s, and nobody ever formally rejected He result. Number 1. Necessity. Necessity, Texas, sits in Stevens County in the Palo Pinto country west of Fort Worth. The population is approximately 40. The town was named in the 1880s by settlers who, when asked what the community needed most, reportedly answered that necessity was the thing they were most lacking. The abstract concept became the proper noun. A community identified itself by what it did not have, and formalized the absence into a name that has appeared on state maps ever since. Necessity has a church, a cemetery, a volunteer fire department, and enough remaining residents to maintain all 3. The town has never incorporated. It has never generated significant tourism. It does not have a gift shop selling mugs that say, "Necessity is the mother of invention," which is, at this point, the most restrained decision any Texas community has made in recorded history. 40 people living in a town called Necessity, on land their families have farmed for a century, with no apparent plans to call it anything else.